Oh, it's a good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. Are you all excited?
Yes.
All right, workshop's over. You see how fast it can happen? Have a good time, good day. Now, allow us to begin by saying we have no idea what we're going to talk about. The reason I say this is to allow you to understand that when you live totally in the moment, you don't necessarily have to plan everything out, don't necessarily have to lay it all out before you do it. You can, in the moment, upon the realization of what needs to be done, simply call upon your connections to the infinite to bring through whatever information is necessary at that moment. You don't necessarily need to think about it a moment before. Just know that you will know what you need to know when you need to know it, and it will be there for you. This connects into the idea of living fully, your excitement, being present, being in the now, and knowing that you are connected to all that is in whatever way, shape, or form at any given moment you need to be to bring through for you at that moment what you need most. Living in that trust, living in that assurance, living in that knowledge is the state of being that best reflects living your life to the fullest, living your excitement to the fullest. Now again, when we talk about the idea of excitement, you can use any kind of label you wish to represent that. We understand that words have different meanings in your society, and excitement, in a sense, can be many things to many people. It can be unconditional love, it can be joy, it can be bliss, it can be passion, it can be a peaceful state of mind. You don't always have to be jumping up and down to be excited. When we talk about the idea that we refer to in your language as excitement, we are simply talking about that vibrational state that represents you being in harmonious alignment with your true natural self. And the process of discovering your true natural self and being that true natural self is what it's all about in terms of having a life that allows you to experience ecstatic explosions of synchronicity and effortlessness and creativity and love and joy. It is the willingness to be who you really are, to discover who you really are and be that you. That willingness is all it takes to get the ball rolling, to start the momentum going, to bring into your life, to attract to you those things that are most reflective of what you need next, of what you need to look at, what you need to deal with, what you need to process, in order to add that knowledge and add that experience to your being so that you can expand and expand and expand and become, experientially become more of who you were already created to be. There's a process of self-discovery, a process of awakening, a process, in a sense, of remembering who you are. As we said, that's what physical reality experience is all about. It's making choices. It's the ability to choose. It's the experience that choice brings you of discovering through all the choices you make who and what you really are as this particular personality in this particular parallel reality life. Now, yes, of course, the greater you, what some people may call the oversoul, obviously has a number of lives going on simultaneously in what you call parallel realities or past or future. All of those things coexist concurrently, simultaneously. But this you is unique, as all of the different versions are, all the different life experiences are, whether physical or not. Each aspect of your greater self is unique. And so even though you have many lives, this life will never happen again and has never happened before. This is the only life this you has. And so to make the most of it, to allow yourself to really experience, to really savor what this life is all about, the idea is that you have the freedom, regardless of what you have been taught, regardless of what you may still believe, you have the freedom at every given moment to choose who you prefer to be, how you prefer to act, what experience of life you prefer to have, that you believe is most representative of the you are, in your heart of hearts, in your deepest soul. Now, as children, many of you automatically understand what it is to live an exciting life. But of course, different belief systems that have developed within your society over time will often talk you out of continuing to live that exciting life as you grow up, as you mature. But the idea is really to learn to balance that, to learn to blend that, to learn to become a grounded adult who still understands the freedom of play, the freedom of creativity, the freedom of excitement in the way you understood it as a child. So it is allowing yourself as an adult to rediscover how you can integrate that excitement, that childlike attitude, that childlike gratitude for every moment of the day, for a total appreciation of your life in a way that is natural, in a way that is second nature to you, actually first nature to you. So that you can know with assurance that as you move through life and as you make decisions and as you make choices, you are constantly supported in whatever choice you make, to whatever degree you are willing to make it. You are never not supported by the universe. And this is the first element we wish to drive home with you with regard to the idea of living an exciting life, is the understanding and the realization you are never not supported by the universe. Totally. Many of you can create an experience as if you are unsupported in a variety of categories and ways, but all that is happening is you are being supported in what might be a negative belief. The universe does not judge. All that is does not judge whatever belief you choose to experience. And if you choose to create a definition and a belief within your consciousness that says you are not supported, the universe will support you in your experience of lacking support. You are always supported, but you are only supported to the degree and in the manner your strongest belief says you are capable of being supported in. But you are supported fully in that belief, in that experience. Every single belief, as we have said, contains, in a sense, a mechanism that reinforces that belief. It creates a self-fulfilling reinforcement mechanism. It has to, by definition. If belief did not contain self-reinforcing mechanisms, you would not be able to have discrete experiences in physical reality. You would not be able to have a particular experience of a particular belief without other beliefs leaking in. And this is, to some degree, one of the things you are learning to transform, is the idea that you can have an overriding belief. An overriding belief that colors all other beliefs, that beliefs are easy to change, instead of an overriding belief that beliefs are difficult to change. The overriding belief that beliefs are difficult to change is part of the paradigm of the belief itself that is there so it will be reinforced so you can have that experience that the belief creates. But now, in your age of transformation, you are learning you can replace that overriding belief, that program, that equation, with another one. That beliefs are easy to change. so that you can simultaneously, shall we say, experience to whatever degree you wish to any particular individual distinct and discrete belief, but at the same time always leave yourself a key to unlock from that belief should you desire to do so when you are done with that scenario. This, in some sense, is the malleability, the flexibility that is required as children have it to shift very quickly from belief to belief to belief to belief, from experience to experience to experience to experience, creating a life that can go at any given moment in any direction whatsoever. So that you understand that every single moment is a zero moment and is absolutely not connected to the moment that was there before it, unless you believe it is. And that's the key. At every moment, you have the absolute and total ability to reinvent yourself, redefine yourself wholly, completely, and become a completely different person. That is another thing that it helps to begin to realize, fully realize, when it comes to living a life of high excitement, is that every single moment you actually are literally a different person. And the person that was there a moment ago is not the same person. And even though you may look in a mirror and see what you think is the same face that was there a moment ago, that is just an illusion of continuity that you are creating for convenience sake, so that you will not be deemed crazy or insane by your fellow members of society. But you could create such a distinct difference in the person from moment to moment that when you look in the mirror, you would actually see a different face every single time you look. Some of this ability has been demonstrated, as you say in your language, scientifically, medically, in cases of what you call multiple personality, where you can actually have one personality that actually has a particular physical condition, such as a cancerous tumor. But when they switch to another personality, the tumor is nowhere to be found. Instantaneously transforming because this personality never had cancer. It's not that reality anymore. That this can be done by individuals exhibiting multiple personality disorder shows you what kind of capabilities you actually have, and if you can, as you say, get a handle on transformation to that degree, and at the same time know that it doesn't have to be out of control, then you can also make the same kind of transformation instantaneously in any way, shape, or form you wish. And when you begin to understand that that's what you're already doing anyway from moment to moment, then you can, with more consciousness and more intention, guide the transformational change from moment to moment in the direction of your preference, in the direction of your excitement. Remember, that's what it's all about. It's not about learning how to do these things. You already know how to absolutely and completely and utterly do all these things. Create any reality, every moment, transform instantaneously, let go of one belief and latch onto another instantaneously from moment to moment to moment. You're doing it all the time. The issue is not learning how to transform. The issue is awakening to the choices you are making of what you transform from and to. Because you can create a sense of continuity in the beliefs that you choose that make it seem as if, from moment to moment, nothing much has changed. When in fact, from moment to moment, everything has changed. You are a completely different person and a completely different reality, literally, take me literally, every single moment that you experience. Any change at all, it's a total change, a complete change. You exist as a different person in a different universe, utterly. Utterly. So you don't have to worry about learning how to do that. It's automatically built into your creatorhood. That's what you do. You can't help yourself but create, moment to moment, a new universe. You are made in the image of all that is, and all that is constantly creating new ideas, new perspectives, new universe, constantly shifting its consciousness simultaneously and concurrently from every different possible perspective, and that's exactly what you're doing too. But you have created an idea. You have created an idea, a notion, a system of definitions, a system of beliefs that define a particular experience you call physical reality on Earth. And you have set up certain guidelines, certain parameters that you've all agreed to abide by to make it seem as if you are not doing all the things we are talking about now. Again, as an example, you talk about the idea, or your scientists talk about the idea that you only use 10% of your brain. No, you use 100%, but you use 100% to make it seem as if you're only using 10. That's what you're doing. You're creating an experience of only using 10% of your brains with 100% of your brains. So waking up to that fact is what will allow you to realize you can change the percentage anytime you wish. Anytime you wish. Because all you're doing from moment to moment is saying, I choose 10%, I choose 10%, I choose 10%, I choose 10% again, I choose 10% again, I choose 10% again. Why? Because I said I have to. Why? Because I said I have to. Why? Because I said I have to. That's all you're doing. You're creating an illusion of continuity with your choices. You can break the continuity. Now, I understand, again, because of belief systems within that particular paradigm, that the idea of breaking continuity can be scary because of the way you define the concept of breaking continuity. But what this is all about is learning to break continuity creatively. This is all artists do anyway. You're all artists. You're all geniuses. The idea of there being a fine line between genius and insanity is exactly this issue. The individuals on your planet that you call insane or have psychological disorders like the multiple personality disorder we recently mentioned, the only difference is that they are not aware of what they are doing in such a way that they can apply it creatively. They're not breaking their continuity intentionally and consciously. This is all about doing the same thing, but doing it intentionally and consciously and artistically and creatively. That's the only difference, and that's why you recognize instinctively, intuitively, that there's a very fine line between genius and madness. Because the idea of going from genius into madness is simply an idea of creating a belief system that allows you to forget that you are capable of breaking your continuity at will. And when you impose upon yourself the belief system that you are not breaking your continuity by choice, then you experience the thing called madness or disorder. But when you understand that you are breaking your continuity by will, by choice, then you have genius and artistry and creativity. That's the only difference. It's an issue of understanding how to break your continuity by choice and liking it, enjoying it, and not being afraid of it. It's all about making a friend of the unknown. Making friends with the unknown, allowing the unknown to be a place of excitement and surprise and discovery rather than a place of fear, rather than something to run from, rather than something to hide from. It's a place to go toward. The unknown is where you will discover all the rest of yourself. That's where the rest of you is. In the unknown. So you want to develop a willingness, not just to crawl there, not just to walk there, but to run there, run to the unknown. embrace the unknown, it only contains more of you. That's all the unknown ever contains. More of you. More ability to discover more of you. If it's scary, that's an opportunity to get in touch with the belief systems that make it seem scary. Because it's only your definition of the unknown that creates the experience of fear. There is nothing about the unknown itself. There is nothing about the unknown itself that generates fear. Only your definition of it generates the experience of fear. That's all. It's the only thing that works that way. So, embracing the unknown, making choices at will to break your continuity creatively will begin to allow you to truly experience what you have for a long time called magic, where one moment does not necessarily have to appear connected to the next, where your space-time reality begins to get very slippery, and you can all of a sudden begin, if you have not already begun, to experience such things as winding up somewhere and having no idea exactly how you could possibly have gotten there, getting somewhere in an amount of time that heretofore would have been impossible to get there in, and all sorts of experiences like that where you suddenly realize that you can do without some of the intervening continuity moments. The ideas of teleportation, the ideas themselves of shifting in time, the idea of expanding your awareness to many different lives and parallel dimensions of reality, all come from the willingness to break your continuity creatively. Now, up to this time in your history, it hasn't necessarily served you to do that, except perhaps now and then in a very random way when it served some particular purpose in some particular person's life. But now, in this day and age, the idea itself that you are in a day and age of transformation allows you to consider many more options, many more possibilities of what you can experience physical reality to be. Physical reality is very flexible, very malleable. Remember, it's just an illusion. It's just a mirror. It only reflects back what you give off. So just as your reflection in the mirror really has no substance, physical reality itself really has no substance and is, in that sense, a true will-o'-the-wisp. It will take its form only from what you believe it to be. Only from the solidity you impart to it with your definitions and your meanings and your beliefs. It is no more substantial than that. No more substantial than your idea of it. What is real is your experience. That's reality. Experience is reality. Reality is experience, not the things that are the props of the experience. The experience itself is who you actually are, is what you actually are. You are consciousness experiencing itself from all the perspectives it can. That's what creation is. Consciousness experiencing itself from all the perspectives it can. That's it. That's what reality is. And when you begin to get a handle on that, when you begin to be willing to break your continuity with that intention in mind, you open up a myriad of possibilities that heretofore were not experienceable in physical reality, because you are redefining physical reality itself. We have long said, and we will repeat this if necessary, we have long said the process of shifting, the process of ascending from one dimension or one reality to another is the process of realizing that you actually are the reality you previously thought you existed in. I'll say it again. The whole concept of ascending, the whole concept of moving from one reality level, one dimension, one density to another, is the result of realizing that you actually are the reality itself that you previously thought you existed in. So what we are saying is, you don't exist in physical reality, you are physical reality. It is you. It's just an extension of your consciousness. It's just an experience in your consciousness. When you recognize fully that there is no physical reality except for your experience of it, and that that's what reality is, that is what allows you to experience an expansion of your idea of reality as you experience an expansion of your idea of yourself. And that's what allows you to have the experience you call ascension, or advancement, or growth, or expansion. Does that make sense to you? Yes. Is there someone to whom it does not make sense? All right. Would you like me to explain more clearly in some specific way what I have just said?
But you can repeat it, please. Just repeat what you said.
All right.
Different words, maybe.
All right. Right now, most of you imagine or have been taught to believe that physical reality is a place in which you exist. You understand? You are being taught that physical reality is a dimension, and that somehow you, as an individual, exist inside that dimension. But you don't. The dimension exists inside you. It's just an idea. There is actually nothing out there. There is no out there. That's an illusion. It's a projection. It's all going on inside your consciousness. Does that make sense? So when you understand that you are not in physical reality, that physical reality is in you, that awareness in and of itself, that moment of being aware of that in and of itself, is the experience of expansion and ascension to a different level. Does that make sense? Does that help clarify it sufficiently? Or is there something else you wish to explore about this concept before we go on?
Hi Bashar, this is your friend Andra. A while back you told us that the Sasani people are akin to the honeybees that collect the energetic nectar from different civilizations and then spread the honey around through the universe. So I would really love it if you could give us the Sasani word for honeybee and anything else that you might feel inspired to share about this particular archetype. Thank you, I love you, and Naveo.
Well, we don't actually have honeybees on our planet. So we don't have a word for honeybee in that sense. However, there are animals that do form energetic webs, energetic connections to different forms of life on our planet. So we suppose that would be a relative equivalent. In our ancient language, they are called a type of seed that goes back to the idea of the original seed that formed the telepathic web between us all, and therefore they are referred to as Shavikwa, which means the light seed, the seed that connects us all in webs of light. So Shavikwa can be the closest analogy to the idea of that which connects all and spreads that vibration throughout a society, throughout an ecosystem, so to speak. So Shavikwa can be the closest analogy to the concept of a honeybee in that context.
Bashar, thank you so much for speaking with me today. You've just been a lighthouse to me in my life, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity.
It is our deep appreciation to co-create this interaction with you. What would you like to discuss this day?
So it's been my highest excitement to puzzle together the true story of Lilith. I feel there's some crucial insight I'm missing. You have said before that she may come through at some point to tell her own story. Is there any clue you can give me to better understand her and her significance?
One moment. Connections to nature are of prime importance to understand the story of Lilith. The idea of Lilith is someone who expresses an energy that is not dissimilar from the idea of the future hybrids that are connected very strongly to nature and who go through different levels of mastery to connect more strongly with all expressions of physical and non-physical reality. So Lilith is a story of self-empowerment, especially for the female energy expression on Earth. And so investigating and adopting anything that has to do with the expression of self-empowerment as an expression of your natural self will help you move forward in understanding the story of Lilith. Does that help you?
That is so brilliant. Thank you so much. Yes, I will need to take some time to digest that. That's just brilliant. Thank you.
All right.
So speaking of creation, 11 months ago, I co-created a beautiful daughter, Aluka, in a non-traditional way. I believe she has strong Sasani connections. Could you tell me something about her galactic connections, life theme, or soul contracts?
She is a strong teacher, does have hybrid connections, and connections to other extraterrestrial sources, especially Sirius and Pleiadian. In time, this being may be involved in some interactions with the hybrid children that will come to Earth to live among you eventually, among humanity. But for now, it is premature, still developing and still growing.
Amazing. Thank you. Speaking of the hybrid children, I have 7 hybrid children, and I know that there is a timeline where we could, meet in my lifetime. Are they sort of paused in childhood, or is there until they're integrated on Earth, or are they going to age in a way we understand it?
They will to some degree age, but they will not appear to age in the same way that humans do. The idea is that they are much longer lived, and the idea is that they don't necessarily deteriorate as they age, as they mature. So they may still seem very young, even when they have achieved a greater age.
Yes, yes. And in terms of the potential of the timeline where we could have contact with them in a physical way, is that strengthening in possibility as we move through the window of open contact?
Yes, for those along that path, it is something that at the outside would probably not take longer than about 20 of your years at the outside.
Wow. Oh, that's so exciting. Oh, my goodness. I recently returned from powerful vortex sites in Sedona and Chilca, Peru. I'm excited to see if I can map portals and vortexes around my home state of Victoria in Australia. Do you have any recommendations about vortexes in Victoria or Australia?
Well, obviously, an extremely powerful major vortex is in the idea of what you call Ayers Rock. Yes?
Yes, yes.
The Alice Springs area. But there is also a major electromagnetic vortex in the area known as Pine Gap.
Oh, I was just reading about that yesterday. How synchronous. Is that, is that similar to an Area 51 energy?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And there is, in fact, an underground base there.
Unreal. Oh, my goodness. So thank you for that information. That's a beautiful synchronicity. I am going to go there, Bashar.
Oh, all right. Have fun.
Yes, I will.
If you are sensitive to it, you may be able to actually physically feel the electromagnetic vibrations that are in that area in certain places, especially when you pass between large rock formations on the road.
Amazing. I mean, for some reason, I had felt that Australia didn't, was not such like as I returned from Sedona and Peru, I felt so invigorated by the vibrations there, and I felt a little bit disheartened when I came back to Australia, and I decided that that wasn't a positive way to feel. So I want to be able to locate the high energy sites here, and Uluru, obviously, yes, I've been there. It's so fantastic. But Pine Gap, wow, I'm really interested to.
All right.
To go there. Thank you.
Have fun in your explorations.
I will. I will.
You may actually also wish to actually take a device that can read electromagnetic energy with you.
So, okay, I haven't. I will locate one of those devices. Absolutely. I wonder if I could take that with me to more sites as well. This is really exciting. Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
You can.
Yeah.
But you can calibrate it based on what you experience in Pine Gap.
Very good. So do you know, I can just research where to get one of those devices.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. Thank you so much, Bashar.
Yes. You're welcome.
I've got two more questions, but stop me if I'm going too much. Recently, I have been integrating my multidimensional selves. I've connected to counterparts in Orion, World War II, sort of ancient Roman Judea, and I'm starting to have strong impressions related to more recent military episodes in the Middle East, which seems odd to me because it's contemporary. Are these counterpart experiences, or is it a montage of media I have digested in my life?
There is some counterpart experience you are picking up on, yes.
Oh, okay.
It is a counterpart that is more strongly living out some of the ancient Orion connections.
Yes, yes. Beautiful. That makes perfect sense. Yeah, it was that last, it felt very aligned to the Orion story. Yeah.
Yes, there are many stories that are playing out on your planet at this time. Many different stories, a true melting pot of different stories from different directions, all using the Earth cycle vibration to attempt to change the ending of those stories in a more positive way. But first going through great darkness.
How extraordinary. I mean, I do feel as I move through time that I'm much more able to viscerally connect with the experiences and the lessons of my counterparts. And that is just absolutely mind-blowing.
Yes, and they from you, and they from you.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah, how extraordinary. Reality
So
is just...
the more you are yourself, the more you help them have something to draw upon to help them as well.
Yes. And I guess what is the appropriate amount of focus? I mean, I don't want to get lost in that world because
Follow
obviously
the formula.
Formula, yes, correct. Yeah, yes, absolutely.
And your final question?
My final question. I feel that I have for many years been weaving together a tapestry about the divine feminine so I can write about it. I cannot tell anymore if I'm fixated on this idea because I've held it for so long or whether I should keep pursuing this path of writing. Help me out, Bashar.
Is it representative of your passion?
It is. I'm very passionate about that story.
Then doesn't that tell you to keep going?
It does. I knew as soon as I asked that question, I shouldn't have asked it.
It's all right for you to ask it, but thank you for allowing it to be obvious.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I just love you so, so much. I can't even put it into words, Bashar. Thank you so much for your time.
It's all right. You may put it into actions.
Yes, I will do. Absolutely.
All right. Our unconditional love to you as well. Aveo.
Aveo. Aveo.
Hello, Bashar. My name is Solveig. I have two questions regarding mostly the cyclic organization of the Earth, especially in relation to my own female cycle. Before puberty, I could see things very positively, such as the death of my grandfather and the separation of my parents. But since I've become more cyclically organized, my life has been more like a roller coaster. So how can I live my femininity fully without experiencing challenging emotions and pain, for example, during the bleeding? And why do we go through puberty and the cycles? and what do they mean structurally, like in an archetypical way? Thank you so much for answering. Much love. Bye.
Physical reality, especially in the Earth system, is a reality of cycles and a reality of challenges. You have, as a spirit, recognized that you have the strength to face these challenges and were willing to face them when you chose to incarnate. The idea is to transform them in positive ways, to use them in positive ways, and sometimes to even eliminate them from needing to be experienced. But remember that if you experience them in a painful way, that is resistance to the experience, rather than using the experience to flow in a positive direction. Find ways to define these challenges in positive ways, how they can benefit you energetically, how there can be lessons learned from them that will allow you to transform other situations in your life, to use the challenges you go through in other areas of your life, to know that you can face these challenges and transform them in more positive ways. So you can use these smaller challenges to allow yourself to overcome bigger challenges and transform them in positive ways. It's like a stepping stone to something bigger.
I'm very excited to ask you a fun question. So many years ago, I asked you about an entity that you gave the name Sadie Rose, and I began seeing Sadie Rose trucks. So Sadie Rose baking trucks. And you said, when I see these trucks, it was a state that I was in that allowed me to communicate with this entity. And
Yes.
recently, I saw two trucks at once on my way to go meet a gentleman who just happens to have the same last name as Rose. And that felt very synchronous. And I wanted to see if you had any fun additional information to add to that.
What was your visit with this gentleman about?
He's a guy I'm dating.
All right. Well, then you are baking a new relationship.
I am indeed. I am indeed. Anything else?
How high do you want to turn up the temperature on your baked goods?
As hot as we can.
All right. Then we would suggest that you go for it, as you say, without any particular insistence on what the relationship should be. Let it show you what it is. Don't impose any societal structure on the idea of what you think it's supposed to look like.
I love that.
Just enjoy it for what it is.
That's perfect. That sounds so fun. Thank you very much. And one more thing I'd like to just mention, my excitement, I feel my reality is extremely malleable lately, especially when I'm in the water with the whales and the dolphins. And recently I've had an experience with the orca that was quite exciting. And I just wanted to ask you if there was an amazing experience where I felt deeply respected by them. It felt very, very a strong sense of reverence from them to me. And I wanted to ask you if you had anything to add about that.
Well, as we have said, an analogy would be that the orcas are the samurai of the sea. And therefore, it's all about the idea of that level of respect, about truth to self, about being authentic in every level of your life.
Ooh, I love that. That word has been so resonant for me lately, authenticity. It's been a beautiful experience to be fully myself and authentic in the most amazing ways. So thank you for that. That's all I have. Thank you, Bashar.
All right. We thank you.
Good day.
Aveo.
Good morning, Bashar. My name is Shaylin Jennings. So my question is, what aspects of my life should I be focusing on over the next 6 to 12 months that are for my highest good, that will serve my soul's purpose, my heart's desires, the greater good of us all, of the greater energy, the universe? And secondly, Bashar, have you visited me? I have been on my channeling journey, practicing, trying to focus in and bring in higher level energies of light and love. And I heard the name Bashar. Like, this was literally like maybe 2 to 3 days ago. So have you visited me, Bashar? I'm not tripping, right? Thank you. Look forward to hearing from you. Bye.
Following the formula, of course, acting on your passion is the answer. And again, if you don't know what that may mean, then start small with everyday things. This is simply the idea of your, shall we say, blueprint informing you that you had set up this connection today. So you got a, in a sense, precursor of this conversation. You felt the leading edge of the wave of this connection 3 days before it actually happened, because you are sensitive to energies and allowed yourself to pick up on the idea of making this connection this day. So you are expanding your senses and increasing your sensitivity to pick up on things that have not yet actually manifested physically, because everything exists in spirit first, as above, so below. But sometimes the below has a time lag to it, and you will pick up on the energy in the non-physical reality of something like this conversation before it actually manifests in physical reality. So no, you are not tripping, as you say. You are picking up on our energy as we are having this conversation today, but did so 3 days earlier.
And what is the best approach to the art of acting in order to achieve the greatest performance? Please explain if it has to do with channeling, which it may not. Is the actor channeling a person that is simultaneously existing in a parallel universe, or is the actor creating something new? Perhaps even a completely different and new person, new in regards to this plane that we know time to exist in.
We have to be cautious about the idea of your terminology when you say completely new. There may be an infinite number of combinations that are completely probable and possible for someone to bring through in a form of channeling, which is what the best acting actually is, in tapping into parallel reality versions that can be representative of the different characters, in the sense that you may be combining from different parallel realities and presenting a new character in that sense, in the new combination of tapping into different parallel realities to create that character. You could say, in a sense, that the character is new, a new expression, one of the expansions of the idea of how creation expands, because it's a new relationship, it's a new perspective, it's a new experience. But it's made out of a combination of things that already exist. And in that sense is not completely new, but it can be a new expression in the way that you understand that term. Acting on the level that you're talking about is channeling, although channeling is not acting.
Okay. And did Atlanteans live much longer than we do now? For example, the Sumerian texts refer to kings that reigned for many thousands of years.
Well, those are not Atlanteans, although Atlanteans did live longer in general. 120, 150 years is not uncommon for the Atlantean biotype. The Sumerian king lists have more to do with the idea of the Anunnaki and other extraterrestrial forms that did have, in fact, multi-millennial lives.
And were Atlantean aircraft balloon oriented, or did they use crystals to levitate or propel air, or by land or by sea?
It was kind of an odd combination of both in many cases. They did have lighter than air vehicles that were aided and assisted in their propulsion by the idea of vibrational means. So you could say, in a sense, that they used some of the science of levitation to move the lighter than aircraft around most efficiently.
And did the dinosaurs look the way we've interpreted them from fossils, or were they all furry or feathery or fluffy and just look like big animals and not terrifying lizards?
Well, again, some of them may have presented what to you would still be very scary appearances, regardless of the fact as to whether they had feathers and fluff, because they were still large animals, and many of them were carnivorous and predatory. So the idea is, yes, you are beginning to learn, as many of your scientists know, that many of them did begin to sprout the idea of feathers. Hence, those branches evolving into what you now have as birds. So the idea is still much of what you understand now in your modern times is relatively accurate, though you still have a lot to discover about them. So even though some of them may have had fluff and feathers, they still were formidable animals.
Okay, and can you talk about our moon and the origins of how it was created and came to be?
Your scientists are relatively accurate in the idea that the early Earth, when forming, was struck by another body in your solar system, and the moon, in that sense, was material that was broken off in the impact, and thus reformed as the moon around your planet in a natural way. Now, the moon is natural and formed that way, but it has been slightly altered since then, because there are extraterrestrial bases on the moon and devices on the moon that have placed it exactly and precisely into the orbit it now occupies to help balance out your planetary system in a variety of ways. So it's not that the moon itself is artificial, but it has been artificially augmented to some degree. But originally it is a natural body that was formed in the early solar system.
Was it in that sense moved so that it would be this exact size, like for eclipses and things like that, that
yes. Now we understand that the moon is moving and has been closer to your planet in the past, and it is still moving slightly away. Nevertheless, certain adjustments have been made so that at the timing that humanity would exist and at the timing it would be relevant for you, the size of the moon being where it is in position relative to the sun and your Earth is not an accident.
So are there more advanced ET civilizations that know how to move planets in a sense and move things like the moon?
Absolutely. There are civilizations we have encountered that have the power to move stars.
And are they physical? Or does that require being a non-physical consciousness to comprehend that?
It does not require being a non-physical consciousness, but it does require a connection to non-physical consciousness to understand it in a very strong way.
Is it on the level of beings such as yourself, or would it be of beings that are even more advanced and higher frequency than you?
We do have the beginnings of the ability to do what we just said, but there are beings that are much more advanced that can do it very easily.
And does that also fall under the idea of terraforming planets?
Well, yes, that can be done, as was done for us. But terraforming a planet is not quite the same thing as moving a star for a variety of reasons.
Yes. And isn't there a thing with terraforming that it's not necessarily the idea that what is involved in terraforming a planet for species such as yourself? How did they terraform your planet?
It requires molecular adjustments on many different levels and fine-tuning with very advanced technology for the purpose of creating the atmosphere and environment that would be conducive to the expression of life planned to live on the planet. We cannot go into technical detail at this time. It is too large of a subject.
Okay.
But suffice to say, it involves an extremely advanced form of nanotechnological manipulation.
Well, just to take it a little further, did they bring animals to your planet, or was it more the idea that they evolved?
Some were adjusted genetically and allowed to evolve. Some were brought to the planet and mixed into the ecosystem where compatible. But that's not the idea of physically terraforming a planet. That happens later when the planet has been terraformed and is ready to receive the idea of life.
So even higher beings are into gardening, is what you're telling us.
On scales so vast, it would try your imagination.
Wow.
There are literally gardens of stars, gardens of solar systems.
Wow. See, there's always more. Consciousness has that one thing going for it. Doesn't matter how long you exist. There's always more.
Yes. Though it is not something that we ourselves can do, there are also artistic arrangements, if you will, gardens of multiple dimensions. We have heard of this from those that have experienced it.
So at some level, this becomes one amazing amusement park, in a sense.
If you wish to look at it that way, it becomes one expression of beauty.
All right, I'll say good day. This transmission we have titled 1 Minute to Midnight. Now, your society has coined this phrase in accordance with what it calls a doomsday clock, meaning how close are you in the entire global interactions going on your planet to the concept of self-destruction. How close are you to self-annihilation? Counting down the idea of an hour before midnight, they have said that you are now 1 minute to midnight, and maybe even less than that, looking at all of the turmoil going on your world, and the idea that you are extremely close to a dangerous level of interaction that could lead to self-annihilation of the human race. But we would like to take that concept of 1 minute to midnight and reframe it in a different context to the idea now of those who are pursuing the expansion of consciousness, pursuing the idea of their spirituality and the adoption of more of who they are in the expression of their day-to-day lives, and reframe the concept as how close you are to open contact for those who are walking that path. So you are 1 minute to midnight, very close. At the stroke of midnight, that represents the idea of the moment when open contact truly begins. And so you are 1 minute away. Now, this clock still moves a little bit slowly, for there will be upcoming transmissions when we will say you are 30 seconds to midnight, 15 seconds to midnight, and then a countdown to the idea of contact. But right now, for those who are walking the path, for those who are exploring their spirituality, for those who are willing to be more of who they truly are, it is 1 minute to midnight. So, it is 1 minute to midnight, children. No time to be asleep in bed. Time to wake up. Time to move ahead. It is 1 minute to midnight, children. So be prepared. It is time for you to move forward. Time that you begin to care about all the things that surround you, about your connection to nature, about the idea of nurture, so that you can be who you are in the world, so that you can connect more strongly to those around you, so that you can be of service to the earth, to humanity, to nature, to the stars. It is 1 minute to midnight. Contact is close at hand. Allow yourselves to connect to the air, to the sea, to the land. It is 1 minute to midnight, children. Allow yourselves to know that if you are willing to be who you are, you don't have far to go. To allow yourselves to interact with the beings that surround you all the time, that have been willing to assist you, willing to engage with you, if you would but find the time. It is 1 minute to midnight, children. Listen closely to what we say. The idea of spirit is not so far away. The idea of contact is not so far away. The idea of a new world is not so far away. It is 1 minute to midnight, children. Time to awaken. Time to open your eyes. Time to remove. Time to remove. Time to remove the fears that you disguise. So, it is important now at this time that you truly expand and accelerate your experience of your connection, your experience of spirit, your experiences of synchronicity. Let them flow. Let them flow. Let them come to you. Let your core frequency attract what you need. Remove all impediments that are in the way, all the fear-based belief systems, all the negative belief systems, all the things that are simply no longer relevant for you. Let them go. Let them dissipate. Let them evaporate. Let them be understood as choices you have made in the past that simply make no sense for you to make in the present and simply will not be experienced in what you call your future. Allow yourself to clearly connect from your heart, your mind, your spirit, your soul. Allow yourselves to be genuine and authentic and true to who you really are and to each other. Clear in your meaning and communication. Clear in your intentions. Clear in your service to others. Be active on your passion. Be active in the formula and understand it clearly. For there is not much time left, for it is 1 minute to midnight, children. It is time to wake up. In the new world, in the new earth, time to shift more and more every day in every way to new versions of the world that coexist simultaneously. Allow yourself to begin to truly let in the new world. To get used to the idea of how magical and miraculous the new world can be. Allow your experience to increase in synchronicity. For everything is connected. Everything is an expression of one. It's 1 minute to midnight, children. Time to have some fun. So set your watches, set your hearts, and set your minds to this new timing. It's 1 minute to midnight. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. We thank you for allowing us to share this with you in your October month, a time when you open your minds to the idea that the spirit world is all around you, that the barriers and the veils are thinnest, that you can interact with those who have passed on as a matter of course, that all the relationships still exist and always will. It's 1 minute to midnight. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. We thank you for allowing us to share this with you this day. Get into the spirit of the season in all the ways that you can take that meaning. And in return for the gift you are giving us in engaging with you, I ask now, how may we continue to be of service? Please begin with your dialogues and questions if you wish.